For as long as I can remember, I have been asked the question, what are you? Sounds like a funny question, but in my life, what that means is that I'm a little racially ambiguous. People can't always tell what I am, and some people just have to know. So they ask, what are you? Throughout the years, I've gotten completely used to this question. I like to mix it up. Sometimes I'm biracial, sometimes I'm mixed, sometimes I'm mulatto, sometimes my mom was white and my dad was black. Sometimes I say, I'm Andrea. I know what people are asking every time they ask this question of me. They just need to know. For some reason, what I am is really an indicator to them of how they connect with me. And I'm okay with that. But what I learn every time I answer that question, and the fact that I can answer it in so many different ways, is that what I am doesn't really matter to who I am. And every time I answer that question, I'm reminded that regardless of the title that I say, regardless of the thing or the definer of myself, who I am really never changes. Someone else's perception of me may change when they find out that answer, but who I am doesn't. Your perception of me does not dictate my reality. I create that. I live that. That's who I am. We as women and men, we are constantly trying to find the next big thing, the thing that's the secret to find out who we are. So we read the books, and we listen to the podcasts, and we read the blogs, and we post inspirational memes, and we come to TED Talks, hoping that someone has that thing, that secret to success that's going to help us define who we are. What I found is that that thing cannot be found from someone else's thing. We're all trying to do it. We're all trying to say what we are, and we're never actually taking the time to find out who we are. So like most women in their 20s and 30s and 40s in the last 10 years, I was told I was supposed to lean in. Lean in, show up. It's why we're here today. So I tried. I tried to lean in. I tried really hard. Career, attempting relationships, forging my path. I tried to lean in the way that I was told it looked like. I fell asleep. I literally fell asleep while reading about how to lean in. So what I realized was I actually needed a nap. That was what was important to me. I needed to take a nap. Now, the people close to me kind of joke about this. Napping is one of my favorite things to do. But it's only because what I've discovered is, as an outgoing person who loves to show up and loves to be connected, I'm also very much an introvert. The only time that I can actually recuperate and actually rest and actually know who I am is when I'm completely alone in the quiet. So I say nap, mostly because now that's what my 3.5-year-old understands. But nap sometimes means reading a book. Nap sometimes means sitting in the quiet. Nap sometimes means taking a walk. Because I have the aforementioned 3-year-old, nap usually means actually falling asleep now. But I nap. And so that's my thing. It's the thing I need to actually be able to show up. So why are we trying so hard to do everyone else's thing, to become what other people are in order to answer our own question? And as I thought about that, and as I've been on this path, and I've been discovering, I realized we are all so different. If you look at your fingerprints, or maybe look at your fingerprints, everyone has different fingerprints. This can really quickly tell us about diversity. And it's the thing that we forget. Everyone's fingerprints are different. Every single one of you have a different fingerprint. Why in the world would I think that what you need is the same thing I need? Or what I need is the same thing you need? But also, I would never attempt to think that my fingerprints are better than yours. And I would never think that yours are better than mine just because they're different. That is diversity. And that diversity carries us through into everything we do. And when we forget that, I think we just kind of lose ourselves. That path that your fingerprints take is so much who you are and what you need. So I'm journeying along, and I'm trying to lean in, and I keep falling asleep. And I realize, okay, let's take a break. Let's figure out what I'm actually in need of here. I need to know what the priorities are in my life. I need to know what things are important to me so I know what to show up for. Because not showing up, I've discovered, I've learned from all this napping, that not showing up is just as vital to me showing up. When I don't show up, when I choose that something is not that top priority, it's just as important as when I do. So for me, I have this 5 filter test that I give things. Your filters will look totally different. Your filter, the juggle you have in your life is going to look totally different than mine does. But my 5 are self, family, career, friends, community. So this is my 5. I filter every decision I make through these 5 things. If I ask the questions when I'm making the decision to show up somewhere, if 2 of those things can get checked by a decision I'm making, okay, I think about it, I might do it. If 3 of those things can get checked when I'm making a decision, I think about it a little harder. If all 5 can get checked, that's a no-brainer. You do that. That's meeting the need. That's meeting your priorities for your own thing that you create, that path that you're on, the life that you're deciding to make. So I recently had the decision to join our local school board. And that's a big decision. It doesn't mean it was going to be easy. It was going to be a juggle. It was going to be a schedule shift. I have a husband and a couple of careers and a small child. Making that decision was a tough one. So what do? I put it through my filter. Easy. Self. I've always wanted to give back in a way that was a selfless way for me to give back. Family. What better way to give back to my son than by helping with his public education? Career. It was a great career step to be in a position where I'm meeting new people. Friends. One of the things that I've realized over the years is that we often are talking about how, well, this friend doesn't support me, or I just don't click with people, or I'm just not getting what I need from the relationships in my life. A really easy way to make friends that align with who you are to put yourself in a place where other people who like those things are. So what an ideal way to make lasting relationships who understand how I work and what's important to me than to join a board of people who are also passionate about the things I'm passionate about. So I've got 4 checked now. Community. Giving back to the community, easy. So in that decision, I can check all 5 boxes. So that's a no-brainer, right? I have to say yes. I don't have to say yes, but I've chosen that this filter works for me. It does not mean that that's easy. It does not mean that it's not more of a juggle and it's more of a struggle and there are things that we do. But what it means is I am fulfilled when I do that thing. That is what success looks like to me in that moment. What it also meant was I stopped showing up for some other things because I had to make time for the important thing. And so every time we make those decisions, we take a step back. We decide, okay, if this is important to me, is there something else that's less important to me that doesn't check all the boxes? So here I am, and I'm moving along, and I'm making these decisions. And I realize, again, I still have to nap. Once a week, I take a nap because I have to keep remembering who I am. Who I am and who we are as women is everything that we've experienced in our life. So when I show up, I bring with me into the room my past, my present, my hope for the future. All of us in this room have brought with us our past, our present, our hope for the future. It's a really packed room. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stories. That's a lot of experiences. That's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of amazing things. Do I think we can't learn from each other? Of course. I'm so inspired by the women who have gone before me, the women who have braved the way to have career and family and grow. But I also know that I can only take from them the things that they've learned. I cannot try to recreate their party. I can't try to recreate their life and expect it to work for me. But when we stop and we say, here's who I am when I come into the room. So I'm showing up. Who I am right now, showing up. I'm a mixed race woman. I was raised by a single mom. My father died when I was really young, which, as you can imagine, most children who struggle with a trauma like that at a really young age, my entire childhood was just a little sadder than most children's childhood should be. All the while, I managed to be really happy. I loved life. I'm so optimistic. But through childhood and into adulthood, I struggled with depression. I struggled with trying to find myself. But while all of the other teens were like finding themselves and rebelling, I was just happy. I was just battling that thing of, why am I a little sadder than everybody else, but why do I like life so much? Now, I'm convinced that's because while everyone else was trying to find themselves, I was still trying to figure out what color I am. But I spent that time to figure it out. I'm so grateful because what I learned in that process is that who I am when I show up are all of these things. And until or unless I was willing to embrace all of that, my past, my present, my hope for the future, I couldn't actually show up and enjoy it. Does it really matter if we show up and we don't enjoy it when we get there? Does it really matter if we can't feel it or embrace it or love it? I don't think so. If you want to, go for it. So when I show up, I know that I need to be balanced, and I need to be prepared, and I need to be okay with who I am when I'm there. So if we all know this, and everyone has heard a podcast or read a blog about what I'm talking about, this is not even new. So why do we fight it so much? Why do we fight actually being okay with who we are? Probably because we have spent years telling each other what success looks like. We've spent years convincing people around us that we're successful even when we're just not totally happy or enjoying it. We every day, I'm sure this week someone has said to you, you've got to try this thing. You've got to read this book. You've got to listen to this thing. 10 tips for weight loss, 20 tips for better kids, 16 ways to have better hair, whatever it is. Climb the ladder, lean in, be brave, be empowered, think like a man, act like a woman. We all know it, right? And if it fits on a meme, it works even better. But those things don't all actually work in real life. When it's a Tuesday morning and you need to get up, unless you know the thing that works for you, doesn't matter. And unless when you show up, you know who you actually are, doesn't matter. So here's my key to success, the thing I found out. I cannot show up for someone else's party. I can show up for someone else's party. The gifts are not going to be what I wanted. The people there are not going to be the people that support me and I have fun with and I have a relationship with and I enjoy. The food's probably not going to be what I like, which is kind of a big deal. It's going to be a great party. Your party is amazing, but it's not mine. I'm sharing with you little pieces of my party, the journey that got me here, and the part that I put together to create my life. Here's my secret. Life is not a surprise party. You don't have to let someone else plan it for you. There are things in life that will happen. There are things in life that will happen to you and around you and with you. But your life and the things that you decide and the party you decide to make for yourself, that perfect cocktail that juggles all the things in your life. I'm not saying go make a cocktail, that's not the answer. The perfect juggle of all the things in your life and the things that you carry and who you are when you show up and what you need to get there is your perfect party. You would not want my party. It's taken me 30-some years to figure out what my party looks like. But I also figured out that my party includes a nap. In order for me to celebrate and enjoy my party in the best way, I have to rest. In order for me to show up and be here and be really, really great, I took a nap yesterday. Now, you may not need that. For you, it might be jogging. For you, it might be yoga. For you, it might be another service. For you, it might be talking to a friend. Whatever that thing is for you, take the time to figure it out. Take the time to not only go backward to the past and look at the things that have made you who you are, so that you aren't scared of them and you're not hiding them and you're not assuming that everybody in the room is going to find out your secret. Own it. Own your secret. It's with you no matter what. It is with you no matter what. The fact that I lost my dad at a young age and struggled with some sadness for years and years is with me right now. But I choose to embrace it. And now it's just part of my party. Now I love that I have a little bit deeper empathy for people than I ever realized, and more than some other people are able to have who haven't had the same experiences I have. So I bring that to the party. My present, I'm a mom, I'm a career, I have a couple of careers, I love my husband, I love my community, I want to give back. I bring that to my party. I've decided what things are important to me, and I've created that party. I want all of you to just take that time. Think about what's important to you. Think about what makes it through the filter. And what at the end of the day is what you need for who you are. And then, when you show up for the party, you can actually celebrate. The gifts are what you needed because you picked them out. The people who are there are the people that you need to support you, and you need to hold on to you, and you need to embrace you because you invited them. The people who aren't there are the people you didn't really need there. It didn't have to be a surprise. Don't let someone else invite who's coming to your party. Really easy. Party planning 101. Now, it doesn't mean don't learn from other people's parties. It does not mean don't embrace the people around you and learn from them. Excellent party planning tips come when we embrace other people. But what it means is stop. Take some time to grow. Take some time to learn. Take some time to figure out who you are so that when someone asks you, what are you? You have the answer, but the answer does not dictate who you are, and it doesn't stop you from being able to celebrate everything you are every time you show up.